Hello and welcome to our webinar, The Future of UX Testing. It's nice to have you all here. I'm Paula Suessmeir, Product Marketing Specialist at Userbrain, and with me is Stefan Rössler, Head of Product and co-founder of Userbrain. For the ones who don't know, Userbrain is specialized in unmoderated remote user testing, and we want to make user testing as easy and accessible for everyone, and not just for UX pros. So while we're still waiting for everyone to join the stage, if you want, feel free to put in the chat where you're located. It's always interesting to see where all of you are. So, yeah. In Idaho, nice having you here from Idaho. And Markus is also here from Austria. From Switzerland, we also have participants. New Jersey, wow, Finland, Canada, Paraguay. Wow, so many people. Berlin, Los Angeles. Okay, Belgium. Okay, I see. We're all over the world. It's really, really cool to have you all here. We were really looking forward to this event today. And yeah, and while we are still waiting for everyone, we would love to know what your experience with user testing is. So I just created a little poll. I will publish it now. And it would be great if you could answer this poll. Give me 1 second. Okay. So you should see it now in the poll tab. Let me know if you can't see it, then my settings are wrong. But yeah, it should be there. And yeah, would be great for you to answer this poll. Be really interesting in your experience in user testing. If it's new for you, you've done it before, you're a pro, and yeah. And okay, what else? Yeah, what are we covering today? So Stefan will talk about the future of UX and how AI is changing the sector. As we all know, it is changing, and AI is a big, big part of that. And yeah, after that, we will have some live demos to show you how easy it actually is to set up a user test and also to get insights. And yeah, and after that, of course, we have a Q&A session. And yeah, saying this, you have the chat tab where you already, everyone is typing in. And next to it, there is the questions tab. So if you have any questions during the session, just feel free to put the questions into the tab. And in the end, we will answer all of your questions. And yeah, saying that, I will hand over to Stefan.
Thank you, Paula, and hi to everyone. Sorry, I didn't say hi in the beginning because I shared my screen, and it's always I'm always technically challenged with these webinars, but now hi to everyone. It's really awesome to see so many people joining. It's going to be, I hope, some interesting minutes today where we'll be talking about AI, and I also hope we have a nice discussion afterwards. That would actually be very exciting if so. We left some time for a Q&A there. But before I even start with the presentation part, I'd like to share my screen quickly and show you the dashboard of Userbrain, because I'd actually like to start with a short demo. And it's just going to be very quick. I'm not going to explain too much, and you will soon see why I'm doing it this way. Okay, so you should all be able to see the dashboard of Userbrain now. This is some account that I'm using for the webinars, and I have some tests in there. And what I'd like to show you today is really that the way we are using AI at Userbrain is, I'd say, twofold at the moment. One part, and that's what we're going to focus in later, is the whole thing of analyzing your test results, which is of course important, so you find the good bits in your tests, and you have a nice way of sharing them with your team and get the right information to the right people. But the other thing we're doing, and that we were, are very excited about, is AI, using AI as an assistant and as a help to get you going with a test. So you can even create a test quite easily. So I'm just going to show you this very quickly. If you create a new test in Userbrain, first thing you can decide whether it's a website, a mobile app, or a prototype, whatever. For this case, because it's just going to be a very short demo, we say it's a website. And Paula sent me this link earlier today about this website, farmersfridge.com. And I'm just going to use this. If you have any websites that you would like to test later, maybe in this webinar as well, or any URLs you'd be interested in testing, send them in the chat. But I'm just going to show you what we're doing. So I'm taking this URL now, going back to this test here, and I say this is our webinar test, whatever, number 1. And I enter the URL here. And what we want to do here, and this is how AI can help you with those things, is to auto-create a test. And all we really need to do is give a short explanation of what it is that we are testing. In this case, I think I'm just going to copy this. So it's probably not the best description I can make of it. If it was my own website, I'd probably be better at it. But it's going to be, you will see it's enough for the AI to do something, to create a meaningful task. I'm just doing this quickly because actually what I'm planning to do is to show you how this works, to already order a few testers so that people can already test this website while we have the presentation part, and later I can show you the results of this test already. This way it's more interactive, I suppose, and it's also more exciting because who knows what's going to happen. So we're creating these tasks now. It's taking longer than usual, so I think I have some technical issue here, which is exactly what I need in a webinar. But anyway, I'm just going to reload the page because it usually just takes a few seconds. I enter this here again, and I need the URL again. Enter it here. And then we say create tasks. And I hope this time it works. Or maybe it doesn't. Interesting. It usually just takes a few seconds. I'm a bit confused as to why it's not working at the moment. Maybe I need a shift command reload. So a more extreme one and see what's happening. And just to check if the websites in general are working. They all seem to be fine. So giving the URL again, auto create tasks. Again, I just take this description here. Just go with this. Anyway, put it in, create tasks. See if it happens now. The really sad thing about this is the very first time this ever.
Maybe you forgot the test name.
It shouldn't be an issue if I don't have a test name, but maybe. You know what? I'm gonna log out here quickly. Log in again, because I really don't know what the problem is here. Okay. Just try this again. Just give it a quick trial to see if it works now. For some reason, our task creation is not working, which is a bit unfortunate because it means that I cannot show you how we're ordering testers for this, because maybe it's better for me now to switch over to the presentation part so we're not wasting too much time. Actually, okay, now it's working. Maybe it's just my internet a little bit slow. It must be very slow, actually. Maybe it's because I'm streaming my video here, because usually this will go a little bit faster. So I guess you just have to believe me now. You can see that the AI is creating the instructions for the testers of this website. So I'm just going to enter the name here again, webinar number 1. So we find the test later and go with you very quickly through what we're doing here. Everyone who's familiar with user testing will know that it's a good idea sometimes to do something like a homepage tour in the beginning, where you just ask people, well, have a look at the site, tell us what you think it is. So it just gets some first impressions. That is something that we usually always have here, that the AI is creating. And then after this, we have a scenario. And again, those who are familiar with user testing will know the importance of this. For everyone else, just a quick reminder. what we want to do with user testing is really give people a very realistic situation so that they can imagine using this site. So user testing has nothing to do with click around and tell us if you like the site or see if it's usable or whatever. So it's not, and it's not functional testing or any of this. It's really, it should be as realistic as possible. So in this case, just based on the description I entered on top, which was actually not a very good description because I think I just entered the URL twice. But the AI is smart enough to work out, what the website is about. It has some knowledge about this, so it creates a realistic scenario. Says, imagine you're trying to eat healthier and you are looking for convenient meal options that fit your busy lifestyle. You heard about the service that offers fresh meals through, and so on and so forth. So it just puts people into a mindset. Then it will have some, like a rating scale in this case. When people go through the site, how easy was it to understand the services and how everything works? And it gives you another task. So imagine you're trying this service for the first time. Please go ahead and try to place an order for a meal that interests you, and so on and so forth. So I'm not even going into more detail yet because that's all what the AI is doing. And basically what it tries to do is create a basic usability test for this website. And as you see, healthier meals, wherever you go, whatever. I haven't even checked, but it's pretty obvious, Farmers Fridge, I think, what it's going to be about. What we're doing now is just asking a few testers to take this test. So we can already look at the examples after the presentation. And I'm just going to put this here to United States, because if I think if I saw it correctly, it says it's nationwide. And usually when they say nationwide, they're talking about the US. So I'm just going to go with people from the US, not going to screen anything specific, just see what happens. And I order 3 people for now. Just check if everything's all right. Yes, place the order. And then you can see we're waiting for 3 testers now. That's something I wanted to show you early on. Sorry for the technical issues. But yeah, the good thing is, as I just see here on the screen, you can always start a free trial, give it a shot yourself, and you will see that it works much faster usually. But anyway, so that's the one part of the AI. And I'm just going to stop sharing the screen now before we go, to the next part of our webinar.
Thank you so much, Stefan. And yeah, I can promise you, normally it's really within seconds to auto-create features. So feel free to try it. I will send you the link to the free trial as well, but more to that later. And yeah, as Stefan mentioned before, if you want us to test anything later on live in this session, feel free just to type in the URL in the chat and maybe like a short description what the product, the website is about. And yeah, then we can, if we have time later on, we can also do a live test, and then just hope that AI will be a bit faster and not need a minute, but like 10 seconds, like it's usually doing. Okay, cool, Stefan. Maybe you can also tell us a bit more about the people-driven but powered by AI, which is like pretty interesting because AI is not here to replace people, but to assist them.
Yes, exactly. So thank you again, Paul. I'm just going to share my screen again. And firstly, I'll be very proud to show you that while it took a while for us to create the test due to technical issues, at least there's already 3 people testing. So you can see the whole process, that's the idea of how Userbrain is supposed to work, is very fast. So you go in there, it creates a test. 3 people are already recording at this moment. They are all from the US. And so we can have our presentation while they're doing the recording, and they should all be done when I am done. And then we can have a look at their results. And what you said there about people-driven and powered by AI is really, we have a very strong stand on how we believe AI could be used, but also should be used in a way due to many reasons. And one aspect of this whole webinar is going to be this people-driven. And as you can already see on the screen there, those are, I mean, you can't really see it, but you will see it later when you see the videos. Those are real people from the US. So that's that's one part of this people-driven aspect. It's really real humans doing the testing. The AI, yes, it helped us creating these tasks, so we don't have biased questions in there. We don't make these silly mistakes that we sometimes make, and which skew our test results. It helps us avoiding those mistakes, but the people are real. and that's an important aspect. But okay, what I'm going to do now is start the presentation. And maybe Paula, you can just say, yes, it's working or something. If it does, because once I click play here, I won't be able to see the live storm anymore. So is it working?
It's working. I can
perfect.
see the header again, your presentation.
All right, perfect. So first thing, what we're going to cover today, and we already did the second part there, the live demo, set up user tests in minutes. It actually took a few minutes this time. Usually it's anyway. What we're also going to do is another live demo at the end about the clips and the insights and everything. And now we're going to talk a little bit about how AI is changing UX. So that's going to be the presentation part of the webinar. And I'll start with this. I just had to do it because how often do you get the chance to use an animation like this in a presentation? So really glad that I could do it this time. And the reason this is in here is this is a topic that we're discussing lately, which is, well, there are people out there saying that AI might even replace UX. It made make it redundant. Like some people have it in their mind, and it's something that's possible in a way that AI can reduce people away completely, and there's only a machine here that's kind of simulating user behavior and all these sorts of things. And then there are these talks, maybe UX is dead already, and there's not a real future there. And that's a big topic that we're discussing lately quite a lot, only to realize really as the more we talk with other people working in the UX field, this conversation about UX dying is probably as old as UX itself. It's something that people were talking for the longest time, and it's always coming back, and it's the same thing now. The truth, however, is that the tech industry in itself is struggling. Jobs are down, people are being laid off, and there's a lot of things happening, and there's this fear in the room, and it's this fear of AI and the fear of being replaced, and it's a very serious issue and something that we need to address, and it's important to talk about it. And what we think really it is a time to adapt to survive. It's always been, but nowadays or this time, that's really important. But the way we see it is, it's not a time for despair. It's really a time for hope. That's important. So it's the main theme is hope. That's why I'm showing you this picture here. And also the reason I'm showing you, because I want to tell you a very quick story. And it's really this whole story about UX and the spirit of UX. Because one thing about it is really whether people like us care about UX or not, whether we think it's important or not, people out there will have experiences. It doesn't matter if we care about it or not. The only difference will be those experiences might be terrible or they might be really good. If there are people, like you listening who work on UX and trying to make things better. That means UX wasn't really born out of necessity in that sense. It was born out of idealism. There was really this idea that if we improve products, if we make them really good, people will have, better experiences. They will have a better life, a simpler life, less anger and so on and forth when they're using stuff. The next part of the story is over the years, UX has become a little bit of a machine. So it started with idealism, but it kind of got corrupted in a way that methods multiplied, more and more things came around, tools became bloated. And what really happened is UX became some kind of an expert sport where you really had to be quite sophisticated to even be able to participate in the field. Because for most people, it just started to become too complicated. And the experts in the field became some kind of gatekeepers almost. So instead of bridging creators and users, they became these gatekeepers who were using the complicated tools and then made UX a little bit difficult to work in for newcomers or for developers and designers and those sorts of people. And what we're really seeing at the moment for a while now at Userbrain is a change that is coming, which is really that UX professionals are adapting. They're changing the ways they're working. And what they're really doing is they're not trying to be these gatekeepers anymore, where the UX expert is the only person who can do UX research, and the rest of the team, they just, they get they only, I don't know, get some information spoon-fed or whatever. So what UX professionals nowadays are doing is they're really trying to empower their team to run their own user tests. And when I say their team, I'm talking about non-experts. So developers, marketing people, designers, people who have never done or never run a user test before. Those people, they are getting empowered to do their own tests. And that is also, on one hand, of course, because of these shrinking budgets, because of the whole industry, you know, being a bit struggling, maybe due to AI as well. But it's also happening because AI can empower teams to do these sorts of things, where it was completely unthinkable before to run user tests without a professional. As you've seen before, now it's actually just you click a few buttons, you enter URL, and you know you can do some testing. And that comes with good sides and negative sides. I'm going to talk about both a little bit. But what I want to show you now is really the first character in our story, let's put it this way. And I've just used this this little graphic here to tell you about a certain group of people, and those are the people out there I'd like to call creators, the builders, those who you know make things happen. They are excited to build stuff, to try new things, and to build products, and to really get going, and yeah, just creating things. And that's one particular group of people that we're having in mind. And then there's a second group of people, and they are the researchers, if you think about them. The people who are more interested in the human behavior part. They're not really technical. I don't know, because I just look at them much. They're not really fixing cars or doing these technical sorts of things, but they're really interested in people and how technology can help people and improve their lives. So those are two distinct or different groups, the creators and the researchers. And I'd like you to imagine that we have this spectrum of behavior where we put researchers and creators, and we can actually put them on two ends of the spectrum. And what I want to show you now is it's just some basic psychology, something that's very well established amongst psychologists, and that they're talking for decades actually about, is there is a differentiation between people in the sense that some people are more things-oriented and other people are more people-oriented. And that's really where we can look at these two individuals here. These two, actually, it's groups of people, creators and researchers. And it will, of course, not be a black and white distinction in every case, but quite generally, creators are driven by building things, while researchers are driven by understanding people, basically. And then what we also have is bridging individuals, those who are somewhere in the middle. It's usually designers. If someone has the title UX designer, they might be these actually very important people who can bridge, but it can be the bridge between more technically minded people and more people-oriented individuals. So that's important. The point I'm really making here is that very often for the creators, the more things-oriented people, user research is not really engaging. It's difficult for them to even understand how it's relevant to the product they're building. So that is an important point I'm trying to make. And also what I want to show you now is if we look at the same spectrum, we can not only apply it to people, we can also apply it to UX or research methods. So think about this. For example, on one hand, things-oriented people, and really I want you to imagine a group of developers, for example, they usually have analytical tools that they are using, because analytics is a very things-oriented approach. You look at numbers, you're measuring things, and that's really, that's one end of the spectrum. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we would have something like, ethnographic interviews, user studies in that sense, which are very people-oriented. Sometimes you don't even talk about the product in an interview because you're trying to find more basic human behavior. So those are very different methods. And analytics is really good at measuring things, but when you want to improve products, which is the whole point of what I'm actually talking about, make things better, which is the spirit of UX, you need qualitative methods like user interviews. And I'm just going to give you a very quick quote that I wrote down here from Kim Goodwin in her book, Designing for the Digital Age, where she's saying, quantitative research about human behavior is useful, but seldom practical or necessary for designing a specific product. When it comes to understanding user behavior to inform design, qualitative methods are far more effective. And I just used this quote, so you know that it's not just me saying this. It's Kim Goodwin, and she, was one of the people working at Cooper Design in America. Alan Cooper being the person who's the inventor of personas and those sorts of things. So those are thought leaders in the field. And she says, well, quantitative it's useful, but it's not practical, and it's actually not necessary if you want to design products. And that's an important point, because what I see a lot, or I saw a lot in the last 17 years, and especially working with clients, is product teams being very focused on their numbers, but they have someone maybe in the team doing some research, but then when the insights are coming in, they don't really know what to do with it. They can't really bridge the gap. And what I'm suggesting is that to bridge the gap here on a method scale, that is exactly what usability testing is, or user testing, how we're most of the time calling it, or how we're calling it in this presentation, UX testing. This is this bridging method, where on one hand you get the people-oriented insights about your users, and on the other hand you get your things-oriented insights about the products. And this is how you can bridge all of this. So you don't just have abstract insights, but you're actually watching real people struggle. And that's how we can bridge this gap. And there's just a quick story that I read recently about this $300 million button, and maybe some of you are aware of it. But there was a team of experts, of outside experts, running a usability test on an e-commerce website where they knew they had some issues with the checkout, but they didn't really know what. So they had the analytics that told them, well, there's an issue, but they didn't know what it is. And then they were running some usability tests and actually found the issue, and a designer in the team made a small change, just changed the label of a button, and then they could increase the annual revenue of the website by 300 million. Just a very small change, and something they found through usability testing. The change was actually based on, human behavior, and that people didn't want to sign up, and something that, is in the realm of people-oriented information that would be too abstract to actually apply for product teams. But since it was found through usability testing, it was a very simple thing. They just saw the issue, the team could fix it, they could move on and actually generate a lot of money. Okay, so that's that part. Now, what I want to show you really is this person on the screen, which is the representation now of the people, the users, because those are really the ones that we care about. So we are creators, we are researchers, we are somewhere in the middle. That's all of us. That's the people who are creating things, and those are the people we're doing it for, the users. And what we really want to talk about again, or what I want to mention again, is this differentiation between what is, how can I say it, the two important aspects, that it is driven by people, because those are the people who drive the whole, that's the motivation why I want to do something, and it's assisted by AI. It is not AI replacing humans. That is not what happens. And I don't know, maybe some of you have seen this before. There are some products and tools out there who are creating something called synthetic users, where they're basically, an AI is emulating to be a real user, and then AI is doing some testing and trying to find some errors. And while that is a useful method, I'd say to some extent, it can never replace real people, because that's the difference between a simulation and reality. It's just, in reality things are different. So you need the real people to actually see what's really happening in practice. So it's not about robots replacing humans. This is not what we're talking about. I just want to make this very clear, because you will see in the next few years many products coming to the markets that do exactly this. They're going to simulate human behavior, and thus making it very seductive also for teams to use these tools to find usability issues. And I'm telling you, especially developers and more things-oriented people will like this kind of approach. And that's why we need to make user testing so effortless and so easy, as you're seeing it in Userbrain. That's why we're doing it, because actually, if I'm really making telling you the big story here, the big story arc is, what's going to happen is that if we let it happen, is that AI is going to replace humans in all sorts of things, and also users in our user research, and we cannot let that happen. But the way to not let it happen is not by, being morally opposed by it or whatever, but it is by creating actually really good solutions to make testing with real people simple and fast, affordable, and all these sorts of things. So again, AI is an assistant, but it's not a replacement. That's not what we're trying to do here. Okay, I'm going to continue on very quickly. Why is AI good? Of course, AI is going to help us save a lot of time. It's very obvious, as you've seen already. Another thing, AI is really good at helping us overcome this blank page syndrome, where you say, well, I want to create a new user test. I want to do something. Where do I even begin? Where do I even start? As you can see, the AI just creates a lot of stuff for you. Another thing that AI is really good is at helping you find trends and patterns, as you will see in a minute. So it just does that almost automatically. The way it's working in Userbrain, as you saw earlier, we have these tasks that are in there that in this case the AI has created. You can also create them manually. You can edit the tasks. So that's completely up to you. That's the first step. The next thing is people will do their tests. As you see, when we change back to the dashboard, we will create a transcript for this. It's actually an AI-assisted transcript, which means that the sentences, they all make sense. And it's incredible how well AI transcripts work. Everyone who's tried it before will probably know how effective it really is. But anyway, that's what the AI is doing. Creates a transcript of the videos. Then it analyzes the transcript. It analyzes the behavior of the people, what sort of answers they're using for rating scales and all these sorts of things. And based on this, it creates some notes and clips that you can have a look at and see, what's happening in the tests. Then what the AI, again, as mentioned earlier, will do is it finds patterns in your tests. So it says, well, there were certain usability issues in this test, and 4 people had issues with the navigation, for example, as you see here, or some had difficulty locating specific car, whatever. So that's what the AI does. It helps you with this analysis. And then you can see the individual clips that tell you, well, what exactly happened here. And you can share these clips with the right people in your team so that you and your team can make decisions. And that is important, I repeat again, so that you and your team can make decisions. Because what I really very strongly believe, and you might have a different opinion, and I'd love to discuss it afterwards, but my very strong belief is, don't let AI make decisions for you. Don't do it. It's, I don't know if you're familiar with HAL 9000 from 2001 Space Odyssey. He's my archetype here for the typical AI gone wrong that we know from all the movies. And I know it's movies and it's stories and everything, but there's always a deeper meaning behind everything. But AI is not reliable when it comes to making critical decisions. And I'm not saying because it's so primitive at the moment, which really is if you're into the field, so we're very far away from what they call AGI, but also because it's just unreliable. It's not a human being. It is a computer system trying to do all these sorts of things, and it might be seductive in the future. I don't know, letting AI run governments or whatever, but I have a very strong opinion about this. So don't let AI make critical decisions. And also, I'm repeating, AI is not here to replacing humans. It's here to empowering humans, to make us more productive, to help us save times, to help us do things that used to take some weeks, do them in an instant, actually, as you'll see in a minute when I show you the analysis of the results that we ordered earlier. And what this AI really is about in our vision for Userbrain and for the whole industry of this usability testing, user testing, UX testing, which again is this bridge between creators and the researchers to make really good user experiences for people, is to help everyone and anyone to get a simple user insights by themselves, because then the buy-in is there. Then people know what to fix. People actually build empathy. Developers can see real humans interacting with their products. There's nothing more powerful than seeing real people struggling with what you're building. And this is how we want to move UX beyond the realm of experts and in a place where UX is a shared activity, empowering everyone to create better user experiences. That is really the overall vision and the idea. And yeah, just showing you this here quickly. And I don't know if some of you have done this before, but we have some customers actually who are telling us about something that many of them call user observation lunch, where a team of people is coming together and they watch the Userbrain videos. And I'm just using this here as a final last bit, because you will see the AI is incredible when it comes to creating tests. It just took a few seconds, a couple of minutes. The AI, as you will see in a minute, is incredibly fast at analyzing the results. It's taking notes for you. It's doing all the heavy lifting. It's doing all the, let's say, not the heavy lifting, but the tedious work. It does that. But what I'm really very strongly suggesting, what we believe here at Userbrain, is as the real humans, as the real people, it's really important that you still take the time to watch the videos. Just watch it. It's whether you do it as a team activity where the whole team comes together, have some popcorn, watch some user tests, just have a look at them. Don't worry about notes. Don't worry about any of this because the AI is doing all of this. It takes care of transcripts and whatever. Just watch it. See what happens. Sit back, relax, and watch. And that's really important, and that's something that we believe in. And I just wanted to have this as a last point in the presentation. And let AI do all the tedious work while you focus on what really matters. So that's Userbrain. And the idea is really, it's real people, real insights, and real simple. Those are the three things we focus on. Don't have synthetic users, and don't bring about insights with some numbers and heat maps that no one really knows what to do with, but have real insights and make it real simple. Because all the tools out there, or many of them, are really, they're perfect for UX experts and researchers and people whose main work is to do user research. But for everyone else, it has to be much easier than that. And that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're focusing on. And that's the end of this presentation. And now, Paula, if I'm not mistaken, I stop sharing my screen again and I hand over to you. Is this right? Am I doing it right?
You're doing it perfectly right, Stefan. Thank you so much for all of these insights. And actually, Adriana was asking a question in the chat, if the tool also performed the analysis, or does it just record the results? And I think this is a great question, Adriana. Thank you for that. Because actually, we want to show you now how Userbrain is also like, analyzing your user tests, and what Stefan also said before. We have the AI insights who can really help you to analyze, get key insights and everything else. So Stefan, thank you so much for these insights on AI and user testing. And now I'm looking forward to see more demonstrations.
Perfect. So I share my screen again. And as you will see, the 3 testers are done. So they're done with the recording. One of the videos is uploading at the moment. Josh, Dondre, I don't know how to pronounce the name. Her video is in review, which means it will probably be here. Yes, it is here now. And Amy's is just processing at the moment. So that's how our test is going so far. And I didn't even expect it to be that fast. So because what I had prepared for you is to show you a couple of other tests also, so you can see how the insights will look like. And maybe I'm still doing this now for a second, just so you can see this. Like, this is a test that I did, for example, before the webinar started, because I didn't know how fast the results will be in. As you will see here, we have 3 testers, 2 from Great Britain and US. It was earlier today, so the people in the US supposedly were probably still sleeping. And I didn't have any language set or country set. And these are those AI insights that I wanted to show you, because I think also someone asked in the chat if the AI is also analyzing the tests, and yes, it does. And this is what it shows you. It gives you a bit of a summary of what is the test even about, blah, blah, blah. And then you can see the positive findings is something that the AI is looking at. And for example, the layout is praised for being clean, well-spaced, visually appealing, contributing to a positive user experience. And then you can see the 3 testers, what they were actually saying. And then there are some short clips where they are saying these things. Like JA, whatever the name of the test is, he found the site to be good looking, while the layout well-spaced, scrolling responsive, blah, 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 blah. Then we can, for example, click on this. You get to the video. Could you hear the sound now of the tester? Paula, did you hear the sound of the tester?
No, I didn't hear it.
Okay, yeah, because maybe that's a technical issue. Can you hear it? The tester is actually talking here. I don't know how I set this up in a way so that, because I think it's not working if I record my audio, that it also records the audio of the computer. But anyway, you can see here's the transcript. So the person is saying it has good looking layout, like the layout, and so on and so forth. So basically that's what the AI is doing. It gives you positive feedback. It shows you user confusion, negative feedback. So it gives you some groups of findings. Then in this group of finding, it gives you an overall finding like this here: excessive vertical scrolling, the information overload on pages can lead to decreased user attention. And then it shows you the exact clips where people are talking about this. And you can click on here, and then you can see it's too much vertical scrolling content, in my opinion. At least 2 pages or screen. I'm just reading the transcript. Anyway, so the tester is talking here about this issue that he thinks the page is just too long and there's a lot too much information. And then there's another tester here, and there's a lot of information on that page, maybe less info on the home page. It was a lot to take in. So that's basically how it works. So the AI gives you the overall insights, groups it in positive findings, negative findings, confusion, something about behavior, suggestions, usability issues if it finds some, whatever. It gives you the individual issues, and then within the issues you can see who were the testers experiencing this. So not just issues, but anything really. So yeah, now there's already 2 here of our testers. The third is uploading still. So we can look at one of the videos maybe for now. And what you can see is here is the video. I can play it. Again, you don't really hear the audio. That's a bit unfortunate, but anyway, you can see here the transcript of everything the tester was saying. But what I really want to show you is, well, maybe first I'll show you the tasks here. This is what we asked the tester. As you remember, the auto create that we had earlier. Those were the questions. Then we see how she was rating stuff. There was a task she failed with. Something was apparently not very easy, obviously, if she failed. And so you can see the answers here. And here are these AI clips that we were talking about earlier, where the AI is clipping the key moments, and then can just go through. And you can see all the things that will end up in your AI Insights tab as findings. Let's, for example, I don't know, let's just click anywhere. I go to the transcript because again, you can't hear anything. He's just talking about it would be nice to more clear how exactly to place an order, like making. So anyway, it's a bit difficult because you don't really hear the audio, but this is basically how it works. So the AI analyzes the tests, it looks at the transcript, it looks at the what people are entering, what answers they are giving and everything. It takes everything into account, and it creates these clips, and these clips end up here on the AI Insights tab. For example, here, 2 people thought that the service was described as cool. Oh no, they described the service as cool, convenient, and easy to understand with high ratings for ease of use. Amy found it pretty easy. And the other person, he expressed a positive view of the service, saying, I feel like it's a cool program. Then you can watch the clip where the people are talking about this, or hear some usability issues, difficulty navigating, whatever. You see these issues, you can click on them, and then you can see what's going on, and you have some video evidence of the problem. And the good thing then is, let's just use this one here as an example. You see, this is, for example, let's say it's a clip, some navigation issue, and you say, well, that is something that our developer really needs to see, because we were talking about navigation, for example, last week. Then you can go here on share, and you can see here's the clip. You can, of course, also, I mean, maybe let's do this first. You say, maybe I want to edit this a little bit because, I don't know, I also want to say, hey, Mike, have a look at this. I don't know if I have a look at this. I don't know if I would write this here, but anyway, I'm just showing you that you can change that. If you say maybe we want a little bit more time before, you just say it starts a bit earlier, so you can change the clip here. You can preview it again, say, okay, this is the moment where it starts. This is the right moment. Yeah, that's good. So you save the clip, and then you go on share again. Here you can see it's generating the clip. And this time it needs to generate it now because I just changed the starting time stamp. Generates a video which you can either share with people in your account, or you can easily just change this to anyone, copy the link, and I'm just going to open a private window for you to see. How do you open a private window in Google Chrome? Oh, like this, okay. And I just paste the link here, and that is basically what your developer mic or whoever it is would see on their end. So they don't have to log in or anything if they can't be bothered with the tool in general. And it's just this one clip that's important for them. Then this is how you can share it, and this is how people can see it, and you can get the right information to the right people. So yes, that's basically it. So we talked a little bit about the AI clips, which is something we just launched very recently, and we're still working on, making this really good, until that the clips start at the right time and they end at the right time, which is quite difficult actually to achieve. So this is something that we're fine-tuning at the moment. And again, these clips will be considered on these AI insights pages where you can see the results, and you can see now probably the third tester is ready because it asks me to regenerate the insights. No, not yet ready. So I can regenerate now because I changed a comment. That's something important as well. If you change clips or notes created by the AI, or if you create your own clips and notes, then once you're done with this, you can click regenerate here, and the insights tab will be updated. So for example, if you found something, you saw something in the video that the AI didn't detect because it was some visual thing that was only you, because you have inside knowledge, you realize that it's there, then you can make a clip out of this or add a note for this, and then the AI will consider this note also in its insights, in its analysis, and it will put it here. So this is how you can interact with this insights tab. And yes, there's some other cool features that you might find useful, where we have a clips page where you can say, well, actually, I'm only interested in task number 2, which was the main scenario. Okay, here's only one clip. What happened here? I mean, it's only 2 testers so far. And then you can only see clips for this task, or you can filter by testers, or say, actually, I'm only interested in usability issues. I don't want to see anything else. And then you can do that. And yeah, that's how this works. And if you want to see the whole report, you have this page here where you can see question after question, and you see each tester and all the clips and notes that are for this task step. And this is, you just go through the whole test. It's more if you really want to dive deep, and you have these graphics, that you might use in your presentation if you want to make one, and you share with your team. And here you can see how people are rating it. There's a task, both did not succeed with this task. Yeah, well, I'm not going to look into detail yet because I think you get the overall picture. And yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to show you. And I have a few other things prepared, which I'm only going to use, if there are no questions or nothing to discuss. Now I just stop talking for a minute and I ask you, Paula, did anything happen while I was showing this now? Any questions or anything we'd like to talk about?
Many questions actually. Yeah, and they are all in the chat tab. Let's see, Marcus and me, we already replied to a few of them. And let's see, the last question was if we support all languages. So Stefan, maybe you want to answer that?
Well, we support at the moment English, German, and Spanish. Those are the languages we're supporting at the moment. What language is the person? I'm telling you, the reason why we're doing it like this is because we have a pool of testers, and we want to have enough people for each language. So this is why we're rolling out language after language, at a I'd say smaller speed. So we don't want to offer all sorts of languages and then don't have enough testers in our pool. If, however, you want to use Userbrain with your own people, you can, create a test in any language you want, really. Just write in the words that you want, and people can make recordings in any language they want, and the AI will be able to pick up what the things mean. How well it actually works, whether it's going to be as good as English, Spanish, and German is something that they would need to check, because that's really our focus. But yeah, that's the current standing there.
Okay, thank you so much, Stefan and Leslie Ann. I know we don't support Arabic, but as Stefan said, you can always invite your own testers by using Userbrain with all of its functions, with any subscription, and also with the free plan. You can invite your own testers and then choose Arabic speaking people. So that would not be a problem in that case. Yeah, what I wanted to say, thank you, Stefan, for demonstrating the AI clips. I think it's pretty cool that you can have these insights so effortless and fast, and then just click the share button and your whole team can see real users struggle and not just hear about it, which I think is like way more impactful. And yeah, now that you've all seen that, I would love you to rate our AI clips. Again, I will now publish a poll. You have next to the chat and question tabs, you have the apps tab, and can choose the polls there. And I will now publish another poll. And yeah, it would be great if you can just submit a vote. And yeah, there are more questions, Stefan. Let me see. Does the AI analyze only what users say, or also the behavior in the video?
Well, it analyzes certainly what they say, of course, yes, and it analyzes the behavior in a sense that depending on the question types, people can give different kinds of answers and they can rate things and whatever. So the AI takes that into consideration. At the moment, we're not doing a video analysis. So that's not really part of how the AI is analyzing things at the moment, but it's of course something that would be interesting. The main reason why we're not doing it is, of course, because it's incredibly complex in a way that, well, it's easy for an AI to look at images and know what's on there, but for it to know also whether something is a problem or not is a different thing. But it's an interesting point. It's nice, great that you're asking it, and it's something would be interesting to look into more deeply. But yeah, that's not really happening at the moment. It's boils a little bit down to what I said earlier. The idea is that for the AI to do all the tedious tasks, to analyze what people are saying, to take all these things into consideration, writing your notes, but for you to still watch the videos yourself and see, if there's some other things that you can point out. So the AI gives you a good start, but it's not going to do a perfect analysis at the moment. Probably never will do a perfect one, but yeah.
Thank you, Stefan. And now regarding the time, because there are more questions coming in, I don't know, what do you think? Do we switch right over to the Q&A session, to the official Q&A session?
I think so. I think it's Q&A. So in my mind, it was Q&A already. I'm going to stop sharing the screen maybe again so that we...
Yes.
Sorry.
No, don't worry. And yeah, there's the next question from Sydney. Does it record with the user's camera, recording their faces and reactions, even if there's no facial analysis?
No, we don't do that. It's an interesting topic as well. It's something we are thinking about, seeing if something, maybe we want to do it, maybe we don't want to do it. The reason we're not doing it is that very early on, we wanted to make the experience of testing as convenient as possible. And it's already, people have to think out loud, so they have to be in a silent environment, and for them to do it. So of course there are more convenient things than that, but we thought, well, at least they don't have to switch on their camera, they don't have to worry about those sorts of things, and then it's easier for them to do the testing. And we found that in the spirit of the 80-20 method, you get 80% of the output already, and it's just something, it never really made the cut for us to be important enough to really do it. And we always weigh it off in a way, convenience for testers and how important is it really for analysis. And of course, there are going to be people who would say, well, I'm especially interested in analyzing people's faces and so on and so forth. So we say, if we want to do it, we want to do it right, which is how we want to do things. And if we don't have a big buy-in, we're not going to do it. So at the moment, it's still on this list of, well, it's a nice idea, and useful for certain things, but it's not included in the product. And it's also not really on the roadmap in a sense of that's something that we've committed to. But it's an interesting topic, and it's great to hear that you, or I assume you would be interested in that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Perfect. And there's also already the next question. Does it only work for web-based evaluations where the domain is public? Can it be used with software applications or web behind a VPN?
Well, I'm stupid when it comes to technology, but what it does is you can, well, people, for example, test that's a common use case. People are testing that testing environment. So where you have a URL and people can open it, and then they need to enter some authentication to be able to access things. I don't know if that's the answer to your questions. Software applications, well, of course, if you can log in the browser, but what also would work is, for example, Spotify was doing this with Userbrain, where they were testing how people did the installation process of their desktop software. And I'm just mentioning this as an example because it's a little bit of name dropping on one hand. And on the other hand, it shows you that you can record the whole screen. So people start in the browser, and you for example, send them to your website or to any kind of site, and there they can download a program, and then they can actually install the program on their computer and record the whole screen. So you can do these sorts of recordings if that is of any help. You can link to it, you can test it. So yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay, let's see. Is there a question? No, facial recognition for immersions is usually not worth it and just a nice show for the client. Just think about all the users who scroll through their phone while commuting. They enjoy it, but the facial expressions are very static. Yeah, that's right. Okay. And of course, you can test mobile apps on iOS and Android. Yeah. Okay. Logan has another question. Is there any skip logic built into test design? For example, making the test ask a different follow-up question depending on how a user answered a previous rating scale question.
Well, no, not included. But that's actually something that's probably going to be in Userbrain at one point. It also was something that didn't quite make the cut yet, because there's no doubt in my mind that that would be a useful feature. But again, with all the features we're trying to roll out, we're trying to get them really right before, or good enough, really good before it's out there. And this is a potentially complex topic, the whole follow-up question thing and the conditional logic, and it's something that we haven't included in Userbrain yet.
Okay, thank you so much, Stefan. Logan is typing, so let's see if there's another question. No worries, it is not necessarily needed, just a handy feature for the future. Yeah, you're right, Logan, definitely. Okay.
About it, yes.
Jocelyn, how much are testers paid for each video?
Yeah, so in general, the rule of thumb is that a video should be somewhere between 5 and 20 minutes, which is a very big stretch, obviously. So, and what we're paying at the moment is $5 per video. If, and it's possible, a customer wants a longer session, then we do double the compensation. So if a video goes long and a customer says, well, there's a longer tester we want to do, which is something we're handling via support at the moment, and the tester would get $10 for this. So that's the current payment for testers.
Okay. I think regarding the time, yeah, if you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to us anytime via support@userbrain.com. And you can ask us anything there, any question, and we can also forward questions to our tech team. And yeah, and I will now add you again the link. Give me 1 second, again. To our free trial, and yeah, feel free to start your free trial. It's no credit card needed, and It's 14 days, but you can also reach out to support@userbrain.com at any time. And if 14 days might be not enough for you, you can't start testing right now or so what, you can always reach out to us, and yeah, we can extend the free trial. And yeah, as I also said before in the chat, you will all get a link with the recording to this webinar to have a look at it again. And yeah, from my side and from Stefan's side as well, thank you so much for participating in this webinar, and thank you so much for all of these great questions. And Stefan, thank you for this demonstration, of course.
Yes, thank you, Paula, and yes, really, thank you all very, very much for joining in. It's quite exciting, you know, because we're obviously thinking a lot about these sorts of things for a very long time already. I think we started Userbrain 10 years ago, and we're working in the field for 17 years now. And as you might guess when you're here and you look at the presentation, whatever, we are quite interested in these things and quite passionate about them. And it's really exciting to be able to prepare this stuff for the webinars. And we're hoping to do more live events in the future. And it would be nice also to, you know, see you joining for future events, and maybe, you know, we're trying some different things also, and to really get something going, because I think it's very exciting times for what we're doing here, because for the longest time, we always tried to make a really simple user testing tool. But before AI was around, it was like, well, but you know what, Stefan, the reality is someone has to be quite an expert to be able to run a test only for, you know, creating the test, because it's difficult. And doing all the analysis takes a long time, and it's very difficult. And it's like, yeah, that's true. Still, let's try to make it as simple as possible. But now suddenly with AI, it's really possible for anyone to just get going. And is it going to be perfect? No, it's going to be far from perfect, you know, usually if you start going, but it's a really good start, and you're going to get a hang of it. And if you're already an expert, I think you will save you a lot of time. And if you're a beginner, or you want your team to start testing, because that's actually the idea here, we want this simple user testing that we're doing here to be democratized throughout your whole team, so developers can run their own tests, then it should really get them going with just a few clicks, and hopefully get them excited about real user insights, so that, you know, the future is not just about looking at analytics and numbers, but is actually watching people and listening to them, and build some empathy, and yeah, do some really cool things in the future. Yes.
Cool. So we see you all hopefully soon again on future webinars and using Userbrain. Thank you so much, and see you the next time. Have a great day, everyone.
See you. Bye-bye.